Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is usually this topic. The topics I'm going to go over. Usually, this lesson, this type of episode, is something that I would normally put in one of my other shows. I would probably put it in the co-creation of a peaceful world. That show, one of the other shows I made, co-creation of peaceful existence. But this is, these are some very important topics. Not only liberty that goes on about how we actually defend ourselves and protect ourselves and our posterity with the blessings of liberty that is secured via the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights and the amendments and the Declaration of Independence, but also, in a sense, also talking and breaking down and really understanding and really just existing as that which we are. And we always have these. And in a sense, it's just remembering, which is really cool because that's kind of how it's always been. And now it's good that we can not necessarily overthrow human will, which is what, for example, the CIA tries to do or intended to do with the illegal surveillance that's overly done and all that technological manipulation that is obviously known, but by the natural human body, the human spirit, and that, of course, the science that goes behind it that I've researched myself, double-checked, triple-checked, verified. Of course, I have integrity, so that's an important thing that I hold dear, as well as the honorableness that I come to serve humanity. Anyway, so those are the two main topics, and I'm going to break it down. So liberty, really discussing more about news and the ultimate elimination of tyranny, which is awesome because those criminals are being indicted really quickly. So, and then once again, at the next segment, I'm going to break down human evolution, how they both tie in together, and how we can continue to accelerate and really be united, not only one as a planet, being united, like my website explains really detailedly, in what the actual foundation of what the kind of mission statement of Project Hypercane is, which is, uniting inner Earth, hollow Earth, and the surface world and outer Earth, united completely so that we can evolve in peace, prosperity, and create paradise on Earth and exist in living in heaven on Earth. Without any types of detriment or degradation. So I'm going to break it down and explain a lot more things just to make it simplified and really explain the importance of how it is not to, necessarily call people sheep, but in a sense how to allow people to be empowered in the ability to, kind of walk through how to become an independent thinker. Because we all go through this process in a sense. I went through this process. But the point is, it's accelerated now because why? Oh, we have human evolution, awesome. Independent thinkers, the ability to, once again, wake up the sleeping giant, to wake up the sleeping masses is incredibly quick. So, but I digress. So the point is, let's start from one of the major points on, the Renaissance. What's going on is, and I don't really need to break it down because I broke it down before. Not broke down what it is. What I'm doing is, what we're living in is the epic, absolute, wonderful, amazing time of the Renaissance and building that, and all of us, we're all a part of this. Every single human being, every single life force. It's not just human beings, of course, which I love to reiterate. It's plants, it's animals, it's the air, it's the water, it's the oceans, it's the seas, it's the other planets, it's the stars, it's the light, it's the photons, it's the energy, it's the atoms, it's the electrons. It's everything is incredibly a part of this evolution and requires, in a sense, all of us, now that we can be, in a sense, also accelerating and heightening and hiring our consciousness and our understanding of consciousness within ourselves and with each other, and tapping into our auric field, which is already tapping intuable, and therefore, really interacting with our DNA at a DNA level, at a very cellular level, and creating the type of DNA that is more proficient and 12-strand DNA. So, this Renaissance, of course, is not just about technology and prosperity in terms of wealth and money, but also in the actual human evolution of the species and where we're going to go in our next step. which is why we're already unique and not necessarily, and why we're already unique and built for peace and connectivity. It's just going to get even stronger. So, some important points that need to be brought up. The Thomas Jefferson's phrase, Thomas Jefferson's quote, I'm going to kind of paraphrase, is eternal hostility against any form of tyranny against the mind of man. That tyranny is in many different forms. And I say past tense because, in a sense we understand it, and not only there's the understanding of the connectivity of this ether of quantum energy that, connects thoughts and our minds, so on and so forth. It not only makes it, puts it in plain view, but it, in a sense, dismantles it, and I'm going to break that down. So there are forms of tyranny, and one of the major ones is CIA and is disinformation and the desire to keep certain technologies secret so that the general public and most of the world's population is not aware of the type of manipulation of human beings, two of stealing of metadata, for example, of human beings. That's done by bad people, by criminals who don't have who have an anti-human, in a sense, agenda, or at least had one. And also, 3, in a sense, the intent to do harm. Forms of tyranny have a lot to do with a type of structure that deals with denying the actual, in a sense, birthright of every human being, which goes down to the core of what it means to be a human being. So, ultimately, birthright involves true greatness. That's even greater than what we previously had. So that means, and it's kind of counterproductive. To try and promote Agenda 21, which is what the elitists and globalists do. It doesn't help the globalists who just want control, which obviously doesn't work, as stated by the Ascended Master from the land of Ariani. But it also is kind of ineffective because, for example, the independent thinkers are aware of how much more beneficial it is to help humanity, to be service to others, basically. So it comes down to, the lack of, it really comes down to, indicting, these criminals. When it comes to this surveillance state, when it comes to these illegal activities that have been occurring in many parts of our government, when it comes to the illegal crimes that have been committed by Obama and his constituents and all that, which is usually already known, it's important that we're aware that the sovereignty is literally being returned to the people, not just American people, but through the humanity, and therefore that very awakening is the very transcendence that radiates that type of light, beauty, and essence of rejuvenation into the surrounding universe. So it affects the plants and affects the planet. It changes the weather, making that positivity irradiates and makes positive change. And then, in a sense, not only as a leader, but as a country and as a planet, we lead by example. And then other planets, once again, awaken to their true sovereignty, and then they overthrow their cabal systems. If there's still planets that still have their cabal systems. Ambassador Mika, they overthrew their cabal system, and now they're completely sovereign and free and developed telepathy, all in the span of about a year, a little bit more than a year, I want to say. So it honestly doesn't take that long. So, and it's really, really obvious. It's not just about returning the sovereignty back to the people, but realizing that on the other side of this is so much freedom and prosperity, and the ability to have free will. Once again, not even God will interfere with our free will. We live in a free will universe, and this allows us to really grow and be peaceful and prosperous. And the benevolence factor has a huge factor in this development and acceleration of human evolution in a positive light, which is what I supported and have been doing for a very, 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 very long time. So going back to some of the key points, bringing it back to let me bring it back to the Renaissance. A little bit of history of the Renaissance. It was ultimately started because it was the end of the Dark Ages. There are certain events that happened in the Dark Ages that allowed the Renaissance to build in Europe at that time, and then it spread, and then wonderful Renaissance men such as who were even considered crazy at that time, Leonardo da Vinci. Renaissance man in every sense of the word. An architect, he was a builder, he was a designer, he was an engineer. And he was a lot more. And even he's a Renaissance man, and his legacy still exists now today. But and his designs are sound. They actually work. I mean, his flying machine actually works. The only flaw is that the human body is not able doesn't have the strength to do to actually work the mechanics of that. It just doesn't have the strength, but it would fly. It definitely flies. So that's the thing, it's no longer about peer pressure into it's the ideas and I tweeted something about it. Albert Einstein's had a quote. If it's something about if it's not crazy and then there's no hope in supporting it. Let me look up the tweet just so I can read it. But the point is, it's not just about opening up the mind to the independent freedom that